In the distant future, humanity has basically been replaced by robots, but there's one bounty hunter named Rick Deckard who seeks to stop them. Why? Let's read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and find out. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be reviewing Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. So, I'm not sure if you've heard of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but if you look right there, it says the inspiration for the Blade Runner films. That's right, people. This book right here inspired the Blade Runner films, which I haven't seen yet. I'm actually just getting ready to go see the first one. But I've heard that the two Blade Runner movies are like some of the greatest science fiction movies ever made. Like, especially the first one. I've heard that one is just absolutely incredible. But anyway, so yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, or Blade Runner, is about a bounty hunter named Rick Deckard, who is tasked to track down 6 rogue androids who've escaped from Mars. And he will get paid very handsomely for it, I guess you could say. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of a basic plot, but this plot is anything but basic. I'm just kind of getting all the basic stuff out of the way. This book is actually very complicated. It goes over themes of what does it mean to be human? Can humans be truly replicated and all that kind of stuff? So this is very much certainly sci-fi. And of course, you know me, I love sci-fi, so this book was right up my alley. But anyway, so, yeah, anyway, to further explain the plot of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, let us get into the summary. So, in the distant future, either 1992 or 2021, depending on which edition you have, this is the 2021 edition, but older editions will have 1992. Anyway, in the distant future, it's been revealed that a huge global war has just devastated Earth. Like, most animals are extinct now, so any real animal that people have are very rare and very expensive. So if you're a person that has a real animal instead of a electronic one, you are considered very rich and upper class. And so, yeah, basically because of this war, as I said, all animals are extinct, and most humans live on colonies off-world because of all the radiation in the world and stuff. But in exchange for the humans to live on other places, they are replaced by androids, which look and sound basically exactly like them, except for one major thing, which is that they lack empathy towards other things. So, our hero of the story is Rick Deckard, who wakes up with his wife, Iran, in bed. And so, you know, in the morning, he discovers that his electric sheep that he and Iran have had has, you know, stopped working, or died, as they say. So he's very sad about that. But anyway, he's a bounty hunter working for the San Francisco Police Department, so he heads off to work. Anyway, so while he's at work, his boss tells him that he is supposed to track down some androids that have revolted, I guess. They're not regular androids. They are these types called Nexus 6s, which are like very powerful and very dangerous. So he needs to retire them as quickly as possible. And retire means kill. Basically, he needs to get rid of the androids. So he agrees to go, but while he does, he goes to the Seattle headquarters of Rosen Industries, because they kind of manufactured the Nexus 6s, and so he wants to test out on whether or not these androids can have empathy or not. So he uses this thing called the Voight-Kampff scale, which is basically like a series of moral questions, and then given the way that the person or android responds, that'll give the answer whether or not they are a person or an android. And so one of the people, Rachel Rosen, she undergoes the test to where it is revealed that she is an android, and then she admits that. So there you go. Anyway, so with his work done, Deckard leaves, goes back to San Francisco, and begins his hunt. His first thing that he does is he encounters this one Soviet officer thing who's also been replicated. it's this android, and then he retires them, no problem. And then his second one is this opera singer. I do apologize if I forget any names of the characters, by the way. There are a lot of names for the androids in these, so like the first one was a Soviet, the next one's an opera singer. I don't remember either of their names, unfortunately, so just bear with me, I guess. Anyway, so he goes to the opera house and he finds her in her dressing room and he attempts to give her the blunt cop scale, but she gets suspicious and calls the police. And then he goes to the other police station where they've never heard of him and he's never heard of them. So that's very interesting. So I guess the sergeant for the station is named Garland, and he kind of sounds human, but he's actually an android. And so this other officer named Phil Raish, he kind of wants to join in the fight against androids. So he kills Garland, who is an android, and then he helps Rick escape and go get the opera singer. So then, long story short, they go find the opera singer. Raish kills her very violently, and then he's like, "Whew, you got to give me the test, man. I don't know if I'm an android or not." So, Deckard gives him the test. Raish is human, but very sociopathic, I guess. And then Deckard is also given the test where he is also human, but he's also confirmed to have some empathy towards androids, which is not exactly very good. Anyway, so in the meantime, this due to this radioactivity, this man named J.R. Isidore is not the smartest man in the world. He lives in an abandoned apartment building. He's the only one there. And while there, he finds this girl named Pris, and so he kind of befriends them and stuff. And then Pris has friends named Roy and Ermengarde, or something like that. They're the baddies, okay? It's like their name is Baddie, and they're the bad guys of this story. Anyway, basically, their whole thing is that they were like the main three that escaped Mars and came to Earth, but they're like the most dangerous ones. So they're going to set a trap for Deckard because they know he's after them and whatnot. And so, yeah, all that kind of thing. So yeah, Isidore, tries to befriend them, and then they just kind of use him to their advantage and whatever. And we'll get back to them later. Anyway, now that Deckard has had 3 androids on his list, which is kind of a record, or at least somewhat of a record, he can now buy his wife a real goat. So he buys her a Nubian goat or whatever it is, and there, she has a goat. But Deckard's boss tells him that the 3 remaining androids are in this abandoned apartment building. And he's like, okay. So I forgot to mention this earlier, but Rachel Rosen is kind of an android psychologist in a way. She knows how androids think and stuff. And so Deckard invites her to go on this mission with him to kind of retire the other androids. She doesn't want him to go because they're very dangerous. So he's like, okay, I'm going to call off the mission. Just meet me in this hotel room. So she does come. And she basically reveals that one of the androids that has gone rogue looks just like her. It is another Nexus 6 model just like her, so it'll look like her and sound like her and stuff. And so anyway, doubting some stuff, Deckard and Rachel kind of spend some time together in the hotel, and then he sends her home and goes to the abandoned hotel anyway. So back to Isidore. His new friends have brutally tortured a living spider because, as I said, most animals are either endangered or extinct. So a living spider is very rare. So they sever about 4 of its legs. And yeah, they are just not nice androids. Anyway, there's also kind of like this religious symbol called Mercer, who's like a martyr, I guess. And some characters go into hallucinations where they see him, such as Deckard. And Deckard basically finds out from this Mercer hallucination that he should proceed, even though that this mission is very immoral. So he decides to go ahead. Anyway, so while in the hallway, he gets attacked by Pris, who is the one that looks like Rachel. Kills her. He's kind of confused. And then he goes to the apartment, kills Ermengarde and Roy. And then after being rewarded all of his stuff for killing 6 androids in a day, which is basically kind of like a record, he's like, So he just kind of goes to the, well, actually, he goes home first, where Iran reveals to him that Rachel has stopped by while he was gone and has killed their goat. Very sad, and that's kind of the end of that storyline. So there you go. So very confused. Deckard goes out to the point of like the Oregon border and just kind of thinks and stuff. And while there, he discovers a toad that he thinks is real. So he's like, sick, good toad. So he takes it back home and shows it to Iran, who reveals that it is an electronic toad. Sorry, not goat. And then he just decides to go to sleep. But even though he and Iran have dreamed of owning a real animal, Iran decides to take care of the electric toad anyway. And that is how the book ends. So quickly before I get into my thoughts segment, I just want to quickly apologize for either forgetting characters' names or getting anything mixed up. As I said, the book has a lot more going on than you would think, and so some of those plot points either kind of meshed together or I just forgot them entirely, so I do apologize for that. But anyway, I actually thought the book was incredible. Like, the book is just incredible, the story is just incredible, the characters are incredible. I don't really have any problems with this book, actually. So yeah, let's start with just the world building. First of all, outside of the 1992 versus 2021 debate, it depends on which version of the book you have. As I said earlier, I have the newer edition, so that was 2021, but you might have a version that says 1992. But anyway, the world having been like basically destroyed by nuclear war and stuff, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. I hope we're not at risk of a current nuclear war, but you know, you never know with these things. So that to say the least is terrifying. A lot of animals are extinct and everything, and yeah, that is just way too real or just way too scary. But anyway, another thing I will say is that, like, I do love the themes that this book goes over with what does it mean to be human and can androids have empathy, which especially is prevalent now, even more back when it was published in 1968, because nowadays we have AI and like Google Assistant and whatever, and like whatever you want to call it, and they certainly can replicate human responses to a point. Of course, it's not as good as maybe androids will like say that they are, but our current AI is certainly at a point where it can be almost distinct from humans, which I think is terrifying as a concept and in real life. So Philip K. Dick was definitely ahead of his time. If Frank Herbert definitely predicted Earth's climate change problems with Dune, then Philip K. Dick certainly predicted the rise of AI and robots and people hating each other with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, because this book is just kind of terrifying. Even though it's not marketed as a horror, I kind of would believe it if it was marketed as horror, because as I said, the stuff in here is terrifying. Like global nuclear war, corrupt governments, people living on other planets. Well, I mean, that part hasn't happened yet, but who knows? Like animal extinctions, AI rising up, trying to kill humans and stuff, wondering if even humans are actually human. It's like there's just a lot of stuff to unpack in there, and this book makes you think about things. It's like, don't think that this book is just an easy read to get through. It makes you think about a lot of things. And I mean, I love it to death. It is such a good book. I'd actually think it's one of my favorite sci-fi books outside of Dune. And you guys know that I love Dune, so. But anyway, yeah, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick is such a phenomenal book. Please go read it. It'll make you think about a lot of things. And yeah, please go read it. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review for Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. And as I said, it is just a phenomenal book with way too accurate stuff going on. But anyway, yeah, so if videos like this interest you, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you like sci-fi books, I also have some other sci-fi books that I've read over the course of this channel and everything like that. But anyway, I'm also like, I just surpassed 300 subscribers, so my next goal is of course 400. So please help me get to 400. I would be very grateful. But anyway, yeah, that is the end of the video. I've been Mr. BG. This is BG's Books, and who are you?
I'm you.
What are you gonna do to me?
I'm here to replace you.
Uh-oh.
Eat this, human.
Ah, an audience. What a wonderful way to have them go out.